So a drill guide is useful for so many different ways, especially if you're working by yourself, to make sure that it's dead upright. Yes, you can eyeball it with squares and stuff, but if you've actually got some sort of a little jig that you can actually push your drill bit up against, you know that it's going to stay vertical if that's what you make. You can even make them for various angles, so if you're doing chair legs that are splayed out at 22 degrees in one direction and in another direction, so it's coming out on like that 22-degree angle right at you, you can actually build jigs for that instead of just eyeballing it. So we're going to do a very basic one here for a straight drill guide. I'm going to show you how to do it. I've just got a little scrap of pine here that actually has a square edge to a square side, and that's just so you can get your initial referencing correct to make sure that it's dead bolt upright. So let's jump over here and we'll mark out what we're going to do, and then I'll show you how it works. All you really need for this is a square, a knife, some sort of back saw. So it's a very simple, quick process. So you do want to make sure you got this square, because that's going to be your referencing, and we're going to come in on the top here, just like this. Come in maybe an inch or 20 mil, something like that. And we're going to put that straight line there. And I'm going to come over on this side, off this side, and do the same. So you can already see that we're getting a nice tight corner here. Now what we want to do is run that same line down this side and this one down the front here, just so we can follow it with our saw. Now you might be thinking, why am I using a square? Well, I don't have to. You could definitely use a marking gauge for this. So now we need to cut these two lines here. So what are we going to do? We're going to jump over into the vise for safety, and we'll continue there. So since this is essentially what we call a first class cut, we want to come in and we want to bring our chisel in and we want to back cut, giving us that little depression there that makes sure we're going to cut right on top of that line and give us our most accuracy. Now, I don't just come along here. You can actually take that little nick out of there as well. And I'll show you why we do that in a minute, because I'm also going to just take a little extra nick out of the corner. And that means we've got that fenced line or knife wall that we can actually reference our saw on when we start. Just a quick run with our rag and a can oiler, and then we're going to get started, because we don't want any friction on this, and it not getting stuck improves our accuracy. Now, for those of you interested, I didn't mark this bottom side here, and normally you would have this facing you, but because we've got these lines, we already know that we're going to be able to saw straight if we keep it on top of that line all the way around. It's going to reference it to this side anyway. So we're going to start just up on this corner here. And I'm following both those lines. Now what I'm going to do is just slowly drop it along the top here until we're established along there like we normally would. And now I'm going to saw down this one first and slowly bring that down, and that's giving me a reference on this side, so I'm going to cut accurate on this back side. And so after that was done, it was just an easy cut until we've gone all the way down we need to. Now you might overcut on here because you don't have a line, but that doesn't really matter. Now we have to turn our block upright here and work with our line on the top here. So we can, although it doesn't work the best on end grain, we can still cut back against that line. Just make sure it's nipped up nice and tight, and keep this as upright as you can. So you want to, if you have to get a square, it's always going to be easier with it dead upright. And it slid around a little bit for me on the top here, so just for removing that, need to put the square back there for a second. Now, they're the kind of struggles I find I get on end grain trying to do this. The fibers don't want to be removed, and so you sometimes have yourself double checking where square is, and obviously here as well. So once again, like the other one, start on that corner, nibble that corner along, stop part way, make sure you get the top done. Once that's established, come down this line here until you hit the bottom, and then use that reference to bring it through. And now we've got that out. If you feel you need to clean any of the fur out of the bottom here, go ahead. And now we should have a deadbolt upright reference on this. And we can see that it's still square that way and still square that way, which means we've got a nice square corner. So it's the corner we're going to use. So let me get a piece down here and I'll show you how we operate this. So we want to drill a deadbolt upright hole right here. I've got it and we go, that's the spot we want, and it has to be dead upright. So we bring our little stop in and we're going to line that up in the corner right with our dot where we know we want it. Then it doesn't really matter how you hold this down. I'm just going to move it around so I can clamp it. So now that's held down, we want to come up here and double check that we've got it right. Tap it around until we've got it dead lined up where we want it. Right down in this point here, there's our dot, that's where we want it. Now, at this point, I'm just going to use the battery drill for this, just so you can see what I'm doing. You could also use this to keep it deadbolt upright when you're using a hand drill, because you've got it clamped down, you've got both hands free, which makes it a little easier. Generally, if you're holding things, you can't really use a hand beater drill. So what we do next, we come in, we place our drill bit in, we line it up there into that corner, and now we know we've got it aligned both ways. Even with us behind it, normally you'd have to look from one side or the other to do that, but we can blindly come in here, push it up against it, maybe use a thinner piece of wood, I don't know, it's up to you, depends how long your drill bit is. But now that we've got that established, we can now come in, tap that out of the way. Let's say we want to hold our workpiece back down, and we can just come in and finish it. And obviously not drill into your workbench. So there you go, folks, that's how you make a square perpendicular drill jig. You just take a little bit of time, use the tools, the layout tools that you know, to get the accuracy that you need, and then you can use that to reference your drill, and you know that it's going to be deadbolt upright. And I know that's one of the harder things, freehanding with a battery drill, and sometimes trying to get the accuracy with a hand drill can be rather difficult, and this takes all the guesswork out of it. So if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing down below. It really does help the channel out more than you know. While you're down there, please comment. Have you made a basic jig like this? Is it something you've thought of? Is it something you're likely to build? Please let me know, I'm rather interested. And if you'd like to support me a little bit further, please consider checking me out on Instagram and Patreon. And if you'd like to see another great video like this, please check the video up here where we make it the Poor Man's Winding Sticks, and also the Poor Man's playlist that this video is part of. Bye for now.